lot of people, when they talk about the Indigenous peoples and the Indigenous communities, there's a lot of stereotypes. And when you speak with people who are non-Indigenous and you ask them their opinions, there's like a certain like type of stigma that was made around our Indigenous community. And how do you think that you can help that stigma that was made around Indigenous peoples?
Well, I think that it's a really big question, and we should understand that often stigma or stereotypes or even racism, when it's more overt or systemic, often those things have a political purpose, right? Those things were introduced to try and justify something else that was going on in the society. And so I think we should be very open-minded and clear-eyed about it and just call those things out and say, you know what, that's not really right. I think this is a more accurate way to go. And the truth of the matter is this: talent is distributed evenly across our whole society, right? And so you can go into the Indigenous community and find great athletes, great intellectuals, people who are going to succeed in business, people who are going to succeed in medicine or art or music, right? And so I think if we can kind of celebrate some of those examples too, that can help defeat some of the stereotypes that are out there in our society. And then just myself as an individual, I always try to like share the positive and share like, here's something from Indigenous culture that made a contribution that all of us benefit from. And I think that that's very easy to do in this part of the world because we live in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. And this is an example that I always share, and I think I shared it at an assembly here a few years ago. We live in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. So you're a Winnipegger, you're a Manitoban, you're a Canadian. What do those words mean? Like literally, what do they mean?
Ooh, I feel like I'm
putting you on the spot here. Yeah. Well, I'll help you out. Winibing means muddy river or dirty river in Ojibwe.
Yeah.
Manitoba Bay means the spirit is here, also in Ojibwe. Canada means like a town or a village, a settlement in the Huron language. So you, whether you're Indigenous or not, right? And I'm just talking to the listener now, whether you're Indigenous or not, if you identify as a Winnipegger, some part of your identity was shaped by Indigenous culture. If you identify as a Manitoban, some part of your identity was shaped by Indigenous culture. If you identify as a Canadian, some part of your identity was shaped by Indigenous culture. And so I think if we can kind of like expand that awareness among people and people understand like, you know what, I'm a non-Indigenous person, but Indigenous cultures have really influenced who I am today, then I feel like that's also maybe the most effective thing that we can do in terms of a positive approach to combating some of the stigmas and stereotypes. Because the truth is, like in this part of the world, Indigenous cultures have absolutely helped, along with many other cultures, have absolutely helped us to enjoy the quality of life that we have today. And so if we can just kind of help remind and educate and increase the awareness, and I think in the long run, that's probably the most effective way that we can help achieve what you're wanting there.
Term really blew my mind.
Yeah,